buddy. Um, and I know it's a holiday weekend, so everybody's probably hopefully itching to get something done. Although here in Hawaii, we're pretty restricted. I think cases have been kind of high, and it sounds like the healthcare system is getting backed up a bit. So I don't know what this Labor Day weekend is going to look like, or after Labor Day, what type of numbers we're going to see, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say you nailed it, Corey. It's like we had Matt called me. I was literally heading to the wedding, and then we got a call from our district manager, and he was like, "Hey, we had an event party," and he was like, "Hey, someone's sick or someone tested positive," and it's like, we're heading to a wedding. And it's like, how do we handle this? So it's like everyone, next thing you know, everyone's getting tested just to be safe. Luckily, everyone's negative, but it's just one of those, yeah, this virus, I mean, people can't mess around. If you're vaccinated, great. If you're not, get vaccinated. It's not a political thing. This is be safe.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, can't mess around.
How is it over there, Steve? I haven't asked Pico or any of our guys.
It's throwing people off because a lot of people have been unmasked. You have people, being extra protective, which is great. All for it. But I mean, we've seen a lot of people there. I mean, we had rallies. There are a lot of people were anti-mask, I was worried taking my son to school a few days ago because there were parents that were gonna rally. They're like, you can't tell me what I'm gonna do with my kid, and how dare you, and the whole spiel. Go walk my kid in school without a mask. Yeah.
Oh my
and I
God.
was just like, do I like? I mean, I in my position, Matt and I, it's like we try, we're going to do, we have to legally, we have to be neutral on everything. But I was just like, how stupid can you guys be at this point? It's like,
to have it at the school, I mean, I think that's a little rough, but I mean,
yeah. No, it's crazy. It's we're on the third day. It's like first day was, I mean, there are people there, they had the buses. It's like there are people complaining. It's like, hey, my son didn't get home, took them 2 hours to get home, and they're like 5 miles away type situation. Wow. I would have thought Hawaii traffic. But I mean, it's just, and it's because of these rallies, it's because of some of the worry. People just need, anyway. So I mean, that's some of the stuff we're dealing with here in Washington. Folks are figuring things out. I'm sure it's happening everywhere else. It's people with kids. It's like, I don't envy what I've gone through as being, luckily I can control my hours. But you think people that are your 9 to 5 or, whatever they are, it's, I don't envy it. It's tough. Hopefully I'll round it out.
Well,
sorry, multitasking.
Yeah, it's gonna be I don't know. It looks like it's gonna be a long ride that we're gonna be on with this virus. So,
how's it going? Did they shut things down with you guys in Hawaii? It's sounding that way.
I think they're trying to balance with not having the shutdown. I think we learned our lesson the first time, and but what they're implementing out here is that you have to be vaccinated to go to restaurants, bars and gyms, I think. And so they're trying to control it, and I don't necessarily, I don't like when, any government bodies telling us like or trying to control what we can or cannot do,
Yeah.
reasonably. But I mean, that's a whole nother, we can go down this rabbit hole forever. So
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole for sure. I feel
it's
like
a rabbit hole that we can go down. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people who are dedicating their entire career right now to help think through these problems with balancing the social aspect and also looking out for the economy and the rights for the American people. So like, I'm not the guy to figure it out or know what's the right answer, so we just have to use our best judgment, I see. But I mean, I always want to ask you, Steve, since you're on the call, what you're seeing with the Fed, because I know they're tapering, but I wonder how that's going to affect us, guys like us who have to just react to what they do.
It's a mess. I mean, that's the honest thing. It's a mess. We've seen, like, for us, we see it daily. So it's like it's skyrocketed and then it's jumped down, it's tapered. It's like, they're right. Yeah, no, it's a mess. I would, for most people, if you have folks on loans, I would likely lock them in, hook them up, get them set up. I mean, if you're looking at buying large, you're looking at buying right now and just buying a large amount of bonds, do it, buy, and then hold. As far
How do
as
you think
rates,
that's going to affect the housing market when, I mean, like, are the rates looking to be pretty volatile?
Yes, it's going to be. It's been that way for the last month, 2 months. Shit, excuse my language, but year, it's been volatile. But it's been pretty steady rate wise. As far as it skyrocketing, everything is pointing to the government. I mean, we had like job unemployment was bad, if I remember right, this last week. And we saw the rates skyrocket, but then they tapered off. Everyone freaked out market wise and then tapered off. And then the market was positive like today, you look at it, it's like market was positive. So major changes, I don't see that happening. Sorry, I got the puppy.
No worries.
What's up, buddy?
That's the major change right there.
Right? Yeah. So I mean, it's I don't see any massive change happening. As far as like we want to buy or sell, we maybe lose $1,000 here, $1,000 there, or we may gain $1,000, vice versa.
Right.
It's, if you see a good deal, take it. And that would be my thing would be, it's like, you see a good deal, don't, take the shot, go for it. You lose a few thousand here and there. It's not worth it. Like you end up gaining like, oh, hey, you know what? Made 100,000 on this flip. Well, if you made 99, 80, you still profited. So take advantage of it. Don't worry about it. The market's not moving enough for us to really freak out where no matter what you do, you're gonna take a loss. I don't see that happening. So what everyone's doing, keep doing it. We're gonna make money.
I don't think there's no time for panic at all. And like, I think in these circumstances, I mean, at this point, I don't even know, I'm just trying to take my best guess, but where like the housing market I think you'll see other sectors start to, retract before the housing. That's my opinion.
I think it's time to throttle down and go all out.
Yeah, there you go.
Buy, get deals. People
It's
are
always a
scared.
good time to buy.
Agree.
Scared money makes no money. And right now, like, we have enough collective between our groups to get into situations and take advantages of the people that are getting scared and backing out.
Yeah.
Corey, I had a
You see
question.
the deals, take them.
Corey, I had a
Mhm.
question.
Yep. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, how's it? With Matt and Steve, how do you think things are gonna change in a couple weeks with utilizing their payment on the rental as part of getting a loan, and also blending the credit and divided by 2 to get the credit score? How do you think is that a good thing or okay thing, or what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Blended credits, not an issue. A lot of them is departure rental. There's no, I mean, we look at that as income. So it's like we take, I mean, right now, credit, like COVID added a lot of restrictions, but they've released a lot of those right now. So if people are looking at getting loans, if you have rental income, you have tax returns showing rental income, that's fine. We'll use that. Now, if it's Airbnb, that is a little trickier. But I mean, we, for the most part, we, try to make it happen, put people in the best light.
Yeah. And well, Matt actually had a good, thanks for sharing that article, Matt, in there. So like next week should have some news coming out, huh?
Yeah, that was in relation to the feds backing up their support, or whether or not they're going to continue to buy assets. Realistically, they were talking about backing up, but that was before the jobs report. Everything that we thought earlier this week was that the jobs report was going to come out and be good, but that was not quite the case. So I think they're kind of in the middle of, we said we were going to back off, but we don't have necessarily jobs reports to support it. Do we continue doing so? So I think we'll see Powell come out sometime next week with a little bit more defined plan of exactly what that means. Are we going to continue to back off or not? So more next week, in my opinion. I don't know if we can say so now. Rates being volatile, Steve's right. They are and not at the same time. We're seeing a lot of ups and downs, but it's overall about the same over the last few weeks. Not a lot has changed, and I think we're all sitting here waiting to see really what the go forward is. As far as Kurt's position or his question, I think the rental income and the blending of the credit scores, that's just going to open up more doors for borrowers specifically in those categories. So I think it's a good thing personally, just more qualifications. Steve's right. Short-term rental income has always been tough just because lending doesn't quite see that as a true investment just yet. I'm hoping we see some changes from Fannie and Freddie in that aspect, but as far as long-term buy and hold, I think it's still a great opportunity.
Yeah,
I know that was a lot of topics there.
No, that was great. And I think I to sum it up, and I think most people would agree with this, is that we have to always remember like our market, like it matters what market you're into, right? And the fundamentals of what's going on in your market, the government's in charge, who's in charge, what decisions are they making. So I think it all plays a factor. We can't really look at the housing market as a whole for our specific situations. Although I would say again that I would keep an eye on your capital, like where, if you're getting money from, your banks and leveraging hard money, you want to make sure, just from our experience back in March of 2020, that a lot of hard money lenders, they're tied to the capital markets. So even though if the housing market's not going down, but the stock market, the capital markets are taking a big crash, like it's gonna affect some of the lenders. We've seen it happen, and it was actually bounced back a lot quicker than I thought. because they, rates for a while were at like 10%, 2 points. They were only going up to 80% of the purchase price. Like it really, it did a contraction and then it opened up again. So, though, but most lenders are tied to the capital markets. So you
Here's
want to
one,
make
Corey.
sure. Yep.
Here's one big thing that has affected or can affect, and I mean, we can look at possibly like future taking advantage of would be like Louisiana, because they had that massive tropical storm that hit this week
Yeah.
that everyone's gone through, and that even hit New York. I mean, New York City still they're dealing with, supposedly, from what I'm hearing, who knows when it comes to reports, but I mean, we have, part of the country is dealing some massive floods. So, I mean, that's something that we can look at future wise, financially, seeing properties. I mean, I'm not sure if we have any people, we may have some folks that have rentals or investments that
Yeah,
are
does
being
anybody have anything
affected.
in that area or they're looking? That's a great point, Steve. I know when Katrina hit, right, New Orleans, like after I think the government was giving a lot of incentives to developers to go there, and I have people from Hawaii who went out there and bought a bunch of houses with incentives and kind of brought back the city. They were a part of that, so that's a good thing to look out for too. Maybe it's worth maybe we might have a whole plane full of people from Hawaii going to the New Orleans or something or Louisiana.
That might just, it's, I'm sure there's folks looking and see, what's going on, but sorry. Yeah, there's going to be some things we should probably, it'd be great if we have someone who can specialize or look into that. That'd be great.
They said the housing in Louisiana, it's up $21 billion, the damage on housing in that whole area. $21 billion. It's really going fast.
Wow. That they are probably going to have incentives again, which I think is great. Like that's what we need, and and that it's just before we move on, it's just it's like another reminder to me. And it's very, especially in Hawaii, because the culture is a little different, right? And rightfully so. There's a lot of Hawaiians who are bitter, about how, the islands were taken over. So I understand that point, but also like sometimes us as investors, we get a bad, we take the brunt of all the bitterness, and. But I think what they don't understand, people who don't understand what we do, is that we help stabilize markets. I feel, whether you're flipping houses, whether you're repositioning, multifamily apartment complex, that's our job. Like we help people who are in hard times, who don't have any other option but to sell to a cash buyer like ourselves, and so we take the risk on that, right? So I'd say, for just my words to everybody else, is like we should all hold our heads up high, be proud of what we do. If you're doing it the right way, then you don't have to explain yourself. You can defend yourself when it's warranted, but I'd say like keep doing what you're doing, because we do, in my opinion, help stabilize a lot of markets. And I did an interview too with this Forbes writer, and it was on this very topic. I'm trying to explain, like all the good that us as investors do. So just, I'd say, remember that, we should all be very proud of what we do and take a lot of fulfillment from it. Let's start again. It's kind of like halfway through the call already, but let's talk about like needs, deeds, and good deeds. So please, if you guys have anything, feel free to unmute or drop it in the chat. I got a couple of things to kind of start us off on, and one of them is we have a couple borrowers that have a deal It's a pretty decent deal, and I'll talk about it, but it's in a building that it's hard to close on because there's less than 50% or 51, there's more than 51% of the units that are non-owner occupied, right? So if there's any conventional lenders or brokers on the call that they know that their lenders can do that type of deal out here in Hawaii, I'd love to be in contact with them, because that way I can take it back to our capital partners and let them know that, hey, they can get financing. Here's a group right here, and see if they would make an exception for my guys. So that's one thing, if anybody has that. And on the same deal, since these guys may not be able to close and get financing even for the bridge loan, for the fix and flip loan, there is a possibility that they may want to partner or wholesale it. Okay, I'll just run through the numbers. Purchase price would be roughly around either 215 or 230. Rehab is only about 15,000, but these guys, they're tradesmen, so they can cut their costs, right? So I'd maybe guess maybe 20 or 25,000. It's a small condo. And then ARV is about 315. So there might be like maybe 60 grand in profit there, 60 to 70 grand for a quick flip. And they are in contract, so they're in they're in contract, but like I'm just doing this for them, so I don't feel comfortable disclosing the address yet. But if the numbers work out and somebody's interested, then I'll let them know, because they might be wholesaling it, but you might have to come in with all cash, private money.
This is on Oahu.
On Oahu, yep.
All right.
Can you guys lend out here, Steve?
Yeah. No, we actually, I found out there's a lady who lives there, and she's doing business for our company. I'm looking at, we need to get licensed. I'll make it happen. We'll get licensed so we can help you guys out. Because I'm not fond of people taking business that we can give the Aloha Spirit to, because I mean, we're 5-star, everything we do, everyone loves what we're doing. They love the Aloha Spirit that we kind of give. I mean, I'm not giving out like spam musubi, but I give everyone other goodies. But I'll take a look on that one. I know Matt's already taking the notes down to see if we can make that happen for that, what you just said.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Does anybody else have anything? Any leads, needs, good deeds?
Hey, Corey? No, sorry.
Go ahead, Jerry.
So I've never sold a property without a realtor, and I just got the contracts on my properties.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It looks kind of standard, but I had a lawyer friend here look at it. He said it looks standard, but there's a couple of things like he's not familiar with because the properties are in Tennessee. I don't know if anybody would be willing to just kind of look at it real quick for me, if I can email somebody to anybody has experience looking at a purchase contract to see if just
you're on the sell side, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Does anybody do business in Tennessee at all? I thought Blaze, were you in Tennessee? No?
No, I'm in KC.
KC, okay. Tennessee, I know Gene and
what are you worried about, Jerry? Like, what's your concern about the contract?
That I don't know what I'm reading. Basically, I mean, when I read through it, it looks pretty straightforward. But like I said, I've never.
What did your lawyer friends say that?
What did he call out?
The only thing that he mentioned was that he's not familiar with the term greenbelt. But when I looked at the contract and greenbelt, it just says if the property qualifies as greenbelt at 15 acres or more, and it's not. So I mean, it's not even close. So I don't think anything else is that much of a concern.
Hey, Jerry, I got a couple of realtors I can connect with you in Tennessee. You know,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Thank you.
Definitely
Cool.
realtor would be a better bet, but green belts, especially if it doesn't qualify, that the only stipulation that I know of is really you can't build on it. But if it doesn't pertain to that specific property, it should be fine.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Thank you.
I wonder, yeah, so, and also, Jerry's gonna be looking to 1031 as well, so preferably in a multifamily. So if anybody, you know, has any of those deals available, maybe you guys can link up with Jerry. So we're keeping eyes out in Vegas to see if there's anything good for him. Saw a couple, but just didn't quite hit his criteria for his goals, right? So we'll find something.
Yeah, and they said 45 days to close, so there's time.
There's time, yeah. But that time does go by quick, so we should probably are you in contract already?
No, I haven't signed it yet, so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We probably should get rocking and rolling. Daniel, did you have something?
Yeah, I guess I had a question. Looking for like a texting platform, like a mass texting platform, and wondering if anybody has any good or bad experiences of any of these texting platforms. And it's basically so we use Batch for most of our stuff, but Batch doesn't allow you to text unless there's an address attached to it. And so I want to text with no address, basically to some kind of list. And so just wondering if
there's one called Easy Texting. Easy and texting. And you can just upload the phone numbers.
Have you tried that before, Kurt? Or what's your thought on that?
I've used it. It's good because you just upload the phone numbers and you just type in. But the only thing is they only give you so much character words in there, so you got to be real specific on there too. But it's called Ease, like E and Z and texting.com, and then you just, those are good too.
Do they have to opt in, or can I just text to like to a list without them opting? I can text with it without them opting in for that one, right?
Yeah, they can opt out, you know, on there. So I've used it. I got some response, some opted out, and you can see when they actually read it. Time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Batch doesn't do that, right?
I think it's only gonna be read if you opt in to say it's read, right? Like it's you won't be able to get that unless like maybe if it's delivered or something. But yeah, I think it's like the subscriber has to decide that they whether or not they allow you to do the reading, right? So
are you guys finding that Daniel, are you finding that the text message marketing is not as responsive anymore?
So this one is for buying for the cash buyers, and so like it's not for sellers, and so we're trying to market to some of the cash buyers over here. And so we've got these giant lists of cash buyers that we want to try and send some of our deals to, and so that's what like this thing is actually going to be trying to use for.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you, Kurt. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt.
Brian, just
thanks
put
for
it
dropping in the chat. Yeah, thanks for dropping in there. Okay. Well, if anybody does have something that comes to mind, feel free to unmute and bring it to us. Otherwise, like there is a topic I wanted to talk about that hopefully, because I haven't been following it, but hopefully, you know, somebody's been, and it's about the moratorium for rentals and evictions, right? Does anybody have any insight on that, or if anyone's going through currently an eviction at all? Nobody?
Only thing I can say is because of a case I had in First Circuit Court, I was getting all these notices from the court saying about the foreclosure moratoriums. The last one I got was the August 6th extension and nothing current. So
Okay.
no news from the courts about any more extensions.
Yeah.
And then they had that Supreme Court ruling saying that
Yep.
extensions were illegal. So That's all I've
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Arlene. Great to see you on.
One of the few things I can.
No, yeah. And what do you do, Arlene? Are you?
I'm unemployed right now, waiting to be called back to my W-2. I work at the hotels.
Oh, okay.
I've been doing a lot of studying. I reached out to you once a long time ago when I went through Kogo Capital, asking
Mhm.
about if you do referrals. So I was thinking about
Right,
calling
yeah.
you because you were, starting up. The first time I met you though was at a win at one of your properties that you
Oh,
renovated
okay, yeah.
a couple years back.
Well, that was a while ago, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I met Cheryl through AARP because she was giving a lecture on, for us old
Okay.
folks to get into real estate investing.
Well, are you still with Kogo?
Well, Kogo, see what they do is they do training and you're not tied to them. So you're like an independent person. They
Got it.
give you sample contracts where you can actually give to your clients. So you have an agreement with your clients, what you get paid.
Got it. Yeah.
And you can,
Okay.
you can go through any groups, but I'd
Yeah.
have to go and study up again because I've been going through so many different classes. I even did the
Yeah.
ClickFunnels.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can get
I got
lost in
the
the
books.
weeds sometimes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, everything kind of ties in, right? With real estate investing, you need education. So I'm into the marketing of Renatus. I don't know if you heard of that group, but they do business education, fundamentals, and
Mhm.
also all different types of strategies in real estate. So I do that too. So I'm hooked up with them, and some of the instructors, I mean, Mark Kohler is kind of known in one of your
Mhm.
groups, the Wealth.
New Wealth, yep.
Yeah,
Mark Kohler,
he's
yep.
also an instructor there.
Yep.
So that validates that, some of the instructors are up there in quality.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mark Kohler is very reputable.
And then Credit Nerds. I was
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at instructors too about credit and building credit, and he has his own company and doing that too. And now he started his affiliate group. So you could become one of his affiliates to do that. So I'm learning that too.
Yeah.
Trying anything.
Yeah.
Actually, this was supposed to be for my retirement, but looks like I'm not going to be retiring anytime soon because of this big, huge break in employment.
So I thought the hotels were opening up again and stuff. Yeah,
Nope.
They didn't call you back?
Nope, I'm the first one since this one girl retired March to be called back in accounting. I'm in accounting. They have
Wow,
only 2
okay.
people working out of 7. And they're saying maybe November. That was before this variant. So now they're talking maybe next year.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a long time coming. So gotta look for other things to do.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, call me anytime. Maybe we should catch up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
sounds good.
Arlene.
Thanks.
Thank you, Arlene.
To add a little
Oh.
bit to the eviction moratorium, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that lifted in August, but there's still a federal CDC guideline until October 3rd, still nonetheless. And there was still the stipulation, if you do the eviction, you still have to go through the mediation process. And they have to be, say, like this month, if you were to give them the eviction, they still have to be 4 months behind on rent. Next month, they have to be a certain amount of months behind on rent. So you can, but there's rules and regulations around when you can file. And if you're about to be on the 4 months, you just want to go into that website, Google like Hawaii eviction process and schedule your mediation as soon as possible because those are booked up for a long time.
That's interesting. Thank you. It's kind of weird because like every instance is different, right? And I feel for the tenants that can't pay and that they had their jobs, cut, or they have to find something else to do now. And it's hard starting from scratch sometimes, and you got, no energy, you get your career pulled out from under you. So I'd say, but also I have no sympathy for the people who just are taking advantage of a, sucky situation. And I think these moratoriums, I did hear that the Supreme Court, I thought they said that the CDC has no, they declined their, I don't know what it was that they put in, but basically they're saying no to the CDC, and that the moratorium should be lifted. So I don't know where we stood, if anyone's dealing with that right now.
They did, August 7th, I think they did. They said, we're not honoring that. However, it's still in federal courts whether or not, I think it's still in negotiations, or people are still fighting it. States are still fighting it, but Hawaii lifted it in August.
Yeah, I have a friend going through that right now with the rental, because he lost his jobs and stuff. He had 3 jobs and he lost them all. And he just went through a mediation process, and they did extend the foreclosure. He wasn't going to be foreclosed on until October. I think it was October 15 was the date they gave him. And after that, he could negotiate a deal with the owner to, he has to pay his current rent, but for the back rent, some type of payment plan is what he needs to work out, is what happened in his mediation process. So he's still kind of,
Yeah.
because not all the jobs came back. He has 1, but it's not full-time.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, thanks, Matt, for dropping that info. I just saw it in the chat. It's definitely something to keep eyes on for everyone. And we've kind of been waiting for this, right? Ever since they put these moratoriums in. It's like, okay, what happens when you take it, when you remove them? And is the market gonna be flooded with inventory? Are people gonna be, out on the streets? And hopefully that, they slow roll this out. So there's no panic sell and then a race to the bottom like last time. So, but definitely things to keep eyes on. And I would just ask if anybody does get news that they feel is, valid, and to please share, in the group and stuff, because we'd love to offer all of us to stay ahead of this, right?
A question.
More to come.
A question. So sorry. The ones that you guys have rental properties, you guys have personal rental property, and you're renting out. Do you foresee owners who have renters that pay rent on time? They're going to say, "Well, we're going to increase rent next year." Are we seeing that as well too? Say that you have the good renters that pay on time, and then you're like, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to raise it up a little bit because I gotta." I don't know. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
I think it already has been happening. Rents have been going up on average nationwide, I believe. But again, it's probably market specific. In some areas that, this is just my best guess, in areas that have been affected a lot, like, maybe New York, you might have seen rents go down. But if, in other markets, maybe like Hawaii or Seattle area, I'm sure the rents have gone up actually. I mean, Matt, have you seen anything? You're in.
Yeah, specifically Washington, California, there's a certain percentage that you're allowed to increase by year. If you don't do that percentage, you can't double it up the next year. So in those markets, I've seen increases in rent just to keep up with that law and get the max amount of profit that they can get. But it's all up to the personal landlord. Personally, I didn't increase mine for my guy over the last few years during COVID, just because he didn't have the money for it. So I think it's all personal, but you'll see it more in the states that have those specific limits on how much you can increase it. Otherwise, there could potentially be not getting that as much return.
Yeah. And is there, I'm just curious now, like, is how many of us have rentals in markets that do have like rent control, like California in certain areas? Hopefully not. Like, hopefully everybody's not in that, in rent. I just saw it never works, in my opinion, it just doesn't work. And and to Matt's point right there, it's like you have to, like, you're only allowed to raise it a certain percentage every year, and if you don't raise it, you can't double up the next year. So what is everyone going to do? Every year they're going to when they can, they're going to raise it to the max that they can, because because of this regulation. So that's why I believe in free markets. Let the market decide. Just let it play out. Don't have to regulate too much, because then it makes it worse. So
Exactly.
hopefully nobody's in rent control markets, but I mean, sometimes, even if you are though, sometimes it's worth it, it's deal specific. So, but these are all topics I think they're great to discuss, like, Matt, are you in a rent control area?
I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
But you have like loans out maybe with people they're crunching their numbers, I'm sure, and like, all right, when am I going to get a return without
Exactly.
breaching the thresholds? So
Exactly. And it's super market dependent. It's really hard to judge. Like, it's great, you increase it, but are you going to have renters that are going to be able to fill that increase if your current ones leave? Like, that was my concern. My renters, they have the income, sure, but it's not as strong of income as it was before COVID. Like, they own a food truck business. Obviously, that's super volatile right now. Personally, I'd rather get some money than no money. I don't know where the next renter is going to come from. Not in today's market. It's not as easy.
Yeah, I mean, Ashley's dealing with a problem with a tenant too, and like, I think it happens to the best of us. Like, some people take advantage of the situation, and some people literally just can't pay. So
Exactly.
But
And I took money from a charity. My tenant, he's going on 5 months behind, and he finally got, a Catholic charity to pay his rent. So now I can't evict him. And he has had the same job since before COVID. I talked to his employer, he's working the same hours, and he's trying to get into investing and so he's paying like, those massive fees to get into coaching and things like that. And he's just totally taking this opportunity to get the free ride. And he takes a lot of my time too.
Oh,
and
that's awful.
I can't evict him now because the Catholic charity sent me the checks. And once the checks are sent to me, it's considered payment, even if I hadn't cashed them. So I'm stuck with him until December.
If you want to sell your house, Ashley, let me cash offer for you.
look
In
at this
Hawaii.
shark over here.
In Hawaii, it's hard to cash flow without a house hacking. And that house brings in really good cash flow. And that's my tip whenever I'm working with like any of my clients. They're always trying to get something that already has the rental income. And I might get something that is basic. It's not a fixer-upper, but is okay condition. And then add a rental over the garage, because you're paying beyond a premium to have the rental already there. Or take a portion of the house. And that's what people do in Hawaii to survive, is they house hack. And you do that, you live in it for, 2 years, and then you go and you rent out, both parts or 3 parts, and you cash flow easily in Hawaii for, a couple $1,000 a month. I'm not selling it.
Oh,
But thanks, Daniel. Keep you in mind.
that's funny. That was funny.
Let's keep asking.
Of course, here comes Daniel. Also, probably wasn't Kamahai or Keone. I don't know if you want to negotiate against Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley, if you need a title report, let me know.
Oh man.
I've got one. Thanks, Kurt.
Well, actually that's a good point. And I want to have Ashley on one day to talk about like just how what it's like, what to look for in a realtor who's like investor savvy, but not just, in being able to close, but all the little things that seem intangible that it means the world, and like negotiating, or knowing when you have leverage, when you're negotiating from a position of strength, and when you have leverage and how much to squeeze and how much not to squeeze, so that all that stuff really matters, and like if you're just getting like a agent off Zillow, like you're gonna get, it's a coin toss. Sometimes they're great, and sometimes I don't even know how they get their license sometimes, so it really matters who, is representing you, especially, in your purchases and your sales. So I think that would be a great topic to have you on, sweetie, if you want, putting her on the spot, but I'm sure everyone would like to hear about it, because no matter what, like if you're represented, there's little tricks here and there that could mean the difference between getting a contract and having to fight amongst all the hundreds of other people who have contracts in, so because we've gotten, when we're shopping heavy and even on MLS and buying stuff a lot on the MLS, like we would get our offers accepted, which were much lower than other offers, right? But it's how it's presented too, right? Ashley doesn't just say, here's the offer, and then cross our fingers. It's more like, hey, when you're giving the contract, she's already pitching you, already selling you, like even if they say, oh, we have one offer in hand already, that it's cash, and like it was like, okay, well, they're paying that much more. Is it even going to appraise at that much? Or sometimes what they're going to try to negotiate you down midway through the escrow because they know that they're in a little bit stronger, position of leverage, which I'm sure some of us have done before, not naming names, but like sometimes like you need someone to, if you're on the sales side too, when someone's trying to squeeze you and it's unwarranted, then you need someone strong behind you to negotiate that, right? So I think it'll be a lot of value to if you can come on. So I think this is more like a telling you. Yeah. So, but I know next week we're gonna have I believe one of our colleagues here, Fuzzy, because he's just about to start scaling his operation in Big Island, and we can dive into like what he has going on over there, and break down some of the numbers and the financing and stuff. So it would be a lot of value. And then I think weeks following that, we have some guests that are kind of stacked up, and just to kind of forecast for you guys. Kekoa went to a Brandon's meetup or their mastermind out in Maui they had last month, I believe. And he said it was great. There is a lot of high performers out there. So he's going to bring some of them on. There's a group out in Idaho that are doing amazing work, like some big deals. It's like they're doing a lot of volume. So I have questions about how are they containing it? Like Daniel and Kamahai were just talking about, how they're at the point where they're scaling, their strategy, which is wholesaling in different markets virtually. And, a business hits different pain points every now and then. And when the business is ready to scale, that's when you got to keep eyes on, like real tight, because things can go wrong really quick. If you grow too fast without proper maintenance and infrastructure, which I have done many of times. So I know those pains. So I want to ask these guys who are flipping like 20 houses, maybe a month, I think it was 20 houses a month out in Idaho. Like, how do you control that beast? Because flipping houses is a hard gig. It's a hard gig to scale because there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of personalities, right? A lot of third parties involved and decisions to make, a lot of materials to order and logistics behind that. So I haven't met a group that has learned to successfully scale house flipping that is not in like a cookie cutter, neighborhood. So maybe perhaps that's the reason, you know, like if you're buying houses that are the same specs, same area, same comps, then it's a little easier, right? You can just have them go door to door. Okay, go to the next one, go to the next one. But we'll see what, you know, how these guys operate out. That's the questions that I have. Scaling is always hard in any business, and I'm sure a lot of us have experienced that. We just went, we switched our, oh, I didn't even tell you, Daniel, but we switched our CRM, and we went live yesterday. And I didn't even know, but Layla said, oh, by the way, you know, Mortgage Automator is now live. So all of our deals are going through there. I just had like a quick feeling of like, oh no, like, I hope everything's okay. Like keeping my ears open. Is there anything blowing up right now? Like just crossing it. So far, so good. So hopefully it goes well. But even switching a CRM midway through is a big deal.
How's that? And I was gonna say, how's that? Because I mean, that's like the number one issue most people deal with is having a good CRM.
We need to know.
Yeah. What do you guys use? Encompass?
No, Encompass is for the originating loans. Actually, we don't even use Encompass. We use another one. But our CRM is Total Expert, which is like common for a lot of big companies, but Total Expert is not a good CRM personally.
It's okay. It's got a lot of great features. It's not the perfect system.
Yeah.
If you want to roll out some stuff, it's great, but keeping track of things, no.
Yeah, I haven't really found one that's like perfect, and maybe there isn't any, but we are looking like the LOs that we brought on, like we're gonna need to find a nice centralized CRM for them. So if you guys recommend anything, I'd love to hear. Maybe it is Podio. Maybe we just gotta build out Podio for them.
I'll send you. There's one I found that's really good, and they were more real estate focused, which, you know, perfect for the group. They've switched and they've added perks for the LO side. I'll send an email, and then you guys can send out to the group.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, because I've been testing them out, and they've been single, so I don't have that, back end remind me things I'm forgetting. So yeah, the CRM is important.
What do you want the CRM to do for you?
It's mainly to manage leads, responses, help communicate with communication. So it could be actually a really simple, basic one. Right now, they're just working off of spreadsheets. I was like, guys, this is your book of business. Make sure you're organized until we can, find a nice CRM for you guys. Then, you kind of gotta be able to make sure you take control of your own, clients and your leads. So, but we got some solid guys, and some of them are on the call. Oh, Brad's on the call. And
is it for generating leads and follow-ups and all that stuff? That's what you're looking for?
Just follow-ups mainly. Yeah. Mainly just follow-ups.
Okay.
But also so that like a central location so that we can have eyes on it too, to see like if they have anything coming up. So I'm thinking maybe just simple Podio, but I don't know if you have anything correct. Yeah, I would love to.
We have one that you can take a look at, and then there's an app that goes with it, and then you control who's, like, say for example, everybody here is on your team. Just for example, you're the master key of everything. You could see what Matt's doing, Steve's doing, and everything. And if they're like, oh, hey Matt, I noticed that you didn't call this person in the past couple of weeks, how come? So you have control of all that. And you can also upload your own Excel sheet of list of clients, and you can do video, you can do email, you can do text, and it's on a drip campaign for you guys as well too. So I'll put it in the chat box if you're interested. I can set up a demo for you. I don't get anything out of it, so it's just bringing value to you guys.
Okay, yeah. Thanks. I'll take a look at that. Yeah, we have our call coming up after this, so I'll definitely take a look at it. Thank you, guys. Well, I hope you guys all have a great holiday weekend. And thanks for jumping on. I get so much value. I feel like I get more value than than anyone, because like I learn a lot, and then questions that I have, I can throw out there. So I'll hang out for a few minutes after if you guys want to talk story. But other than that, have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Happy Aloha Friday, everybody.